So I got an interesting one here again. It's that time of the year where you gotta scrape around topics and stuff, and I don't want to talk about Blood Origin anymore. Really don't want to talk about Avatar: The Way of Water, but I had to make a video because yes, it made $1 billion, but James Cameron. God, you are such a Hollywood elitist prick, aren't you? James Cameron, I wouldn't make Terminator today. I look back on some films that I've made, and I don't know if I would want to make the films now. I don't know if I would want to fetishize the gun, says Cameron. I don't get political on this channel very often, but this is one of those moments. I am a 2A absolutist. You have the right to keep and bear firearms, whatever you want. I don't care. You have the right to have it. I don't care. I don't care who you are, who you sleep with, any of that stuff. I don't care. You are allowed to have those guns. And I'm so tired of Hollywood elitist pricks thinking that they're better than you because they don't like guns and they think guns are bad. Guns are bad, okay? They don't realize the good that they do. They don't realize what it is. It is a useful tool. It is not a weapon of war. It is a useful tool. And James Cameron being popular for action movies, some of the best action movies, Terminator 2, Alien. Well, Alien's more of a horror film. Aliens. That's what I'm thinking about. I don't think he did Alien. I'll have to go back and look. Aliens. Very popular. Very action heavy. James Cameron has made some of the greatest action movies, and I don't want to fetishize the gun. So what? So what? You didn't fetishize the gun. You acknowledge that guns are tools. They are not what you think they were. They're not scary oogie boogies. James Cameron, director Avatar: The Way of Water, the current biggest movie in the world that is rocketing closer and closer to 1 billion at the global box office. I just did a video, it crossed 1 billion. It's still might be a big movie right now. It's not the biggest in the world, and has a long way to go before it breaks even and starts making money. So yeah, might be raking in some dough, but hasn't even made money. Anyways, made some of the most influential films in history, including Aliens, Terminator, and Titanic. But some of the potential influence he regrets, he revealed to Esquire Middle East. Why did you go to Middle East? I don't know. It turns out that Cameron, who is known as an action filmmaker, yes, he's made some very popular action movies. Avatar and Avatar 2 are good examples of that. Hey, there's boom booms in there too. Even in Avatar 2, there's boom booms. There's guns, there's violence. Happens, it's the reality of the world. Guns are just a tool nowadays. They are the modern tool. Before it was swords, then it was arrows, then it was boom booms. Get over it. He admits, believes that, James Cameron, who is known as the action filmmaker, he admits, believes that his films have often been too violent. Wait, what? Too violent? I don't see too violent. I see fun, action-packed thrills. Except for Avatar and Avatar 2, I was not impressed. But I see fun, action-packed thrills. What do you mean are too violent? Because I'm far from too violent. Trust me, there is tons of violent stuff in the world that you get extremely wrong. And the heavy amounts of gun violence that play into films such as Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and True Lies, he believes have no place in moral movie making in the current state of the world. Oh, spare me your elitist prick nonsense. I think that guns have no place in moral movie telling. I don't think we need to be doing this in our moral telling. We are better than you. We are greater than you. How many wives have you had and how many children do you have? Because my understanding is you're on wife number 5 because you can't keep it in your pants half the time. Man, you're really better than me, aren't you? Half of Hollywood. Oh my God, half of Hollywood. You are so much better than me. You are greater than me. I should listen to you. Your morals are superior than mine. I simply say I'm borderline libertarian on a lot of issues. More right-leaning, I will admit. I'm partially conservative libertarian, one of those mixed. Just the reality. That's who I am. When I'm dealing with guns and James Cameron, moral high horse, I have to admit it. I don't care what you do. I'm not here to preach my politics to you or say, hey, I have better morals than you. Because I don't care. I do care, though, when elitist Hollywood pricks like James Cameron have to come out here and say, masculinity, testosterone, that's a toxin. Guns? Oh, guns, they're bad and they have no place in our moral movies because we're superior. We're better. We made things that people liked. So obviously we're better than you, right? Wrong. You guys are some of the most sickening, depressed people in the world. And you would look upon flyover states as if they're trash, as if they're scum because they don't want to listen to you because you don't listen to them. I look back why James Cameron might regret his most violent films. They weren't violent. Well, they were violent, but they weren't the most violent films out there. They were fun. They had points. War is reality. To have war is to be human. Violence is the way of the world. Sorry, it's not all sunshines and rainbows and cushions. It is violent, it is depressing, and it is dark. So it doesn't your movies being super violent doesn't even breach the main topic of what the history of the world is. I look back at some films that I've made, and I don't know if I would want to make that film now. Why? I don't know if I would want to fetishize the gun like I did on a couple of Terminator movies 30 plus years ago in our current world. Why don't you want to fetishize the gun? Why don't you want to show guns anymore? Why does nobody want to show guns anymore? Oh, because gun crime is so high. Oh, it's all for the guns. We need to get rid of the guns. Ignore the fact that most of the gun violence always happen in very urban areas. Ignore those facts. Ignore the facts. What's happening with guns in our society turns my stomach. What? I have guns. Love my guns. Well, actually, I don't have guns. They're at the bottom of the ocean somewhere. Anyways, guns are tools. They're used to help people. They have actually saved more lives than they have taken, but nobody wants to ever admit that. Guns are useful. Guns are okay. It's the people behind the gun that you always need to be worried about. That does not mean saying we need registries for anything. I get it. This is a more politically top-heavy video. But I get so annoyed when Hollywood elitist pricks who can afford to have their own private armies half the time, private security forces, private everything they can have the guns. You can't. That's when I get all pissy and a little bit more stickler on some of the beliefs I have. I'm happy to be living in New Zealand, where they just banned all assault rifles 2 weeks after that horrific mosque shooting a couple of years ago. It wasn't the gun's fault. That was a crazy man. That was the Christchurch shooting. That was a crazy man who believed crazy stuff and wanted crazy things to happen. He was a bad dude. Bad people exist in the world. I'm sorry to admit that to you. Again, the world is not all sunshine, rainbows, happiness. The world in reality is death, darkness, destruction, pain, suffering. That is the reality of world. Just because we get to live in the first world and these really fancy worlds that I am so happy to be living in doesn't mean that the rest of the world is like us. The rest of the world is in a whole lot of shittier situations, and that's the fact. Can't change it. Because we're blessed to be living in such a high society that they think, oh, you know what? We're better. We're going to take your rights away. Cameron grappled with his current aversion to gratuitous violence while making Avatar: The Way of Water. Oh, God. Wow. I mean, gratuitous violence. Oh, I grappled with that. Yeah, in the first in roughly the first hour of the movie, first 30 minutes, maybe. I don't remember how long it was. You blow up a train. You blow up a train, and then you blow up some of the Na'vi. So he obviously didn't grapple that much, deciding in the end, cut out a lot of gun action that he deemed unnecessary. I actually cut about 10 minutes of the movie targeting gunplay action. Why? Why do you just want to cut out the gunplay? Because there's a lot of things in that movie that could have been cut out. A lot of the whales, a lot of the swimming around. Didn't need to happen, but you chose the gunplay. Why? Because you don't like guns? Is that it? Is that the only reason you chose to cut out the gunplay? Because I don't like guns. They're scary. You shouldn't have them, but I can have a security force. That's why. I wanted to get rid of some of the ugliness to find a balance between light and dark. You have to have conflict, of course. Violence and action are the same thing, depending on how you look at it. This is the dilemma of every action filmmaker. And I know as an action filmmaker, says Cameron. God. I don't want to go any further into it because it talks about Avatar 2 overabundantly. Talk about how, yes, the film has perhaps most difficult to watch scenes in Cameron's filmmaking with the action scenes. I don't think so. They're actually relatively easy to watch. But come on. Guns aren't the problem here. You're just acting like a moral superiority prick right now, and you're not. Guns are okay. Okay, they're not scary. They're not bad. They're not wrong. They're fine. Boom boom sticks are fine. They're in fact very fun to use. And James Cameron is just a prick who thinks that he's better than you. So go shove off, James Cameron. I don't care. I didn't even like your movie. With that being said, guys, give me your thoughts down in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Hollywood moral superiority and what they believe? Should they be in charge of us? Should they really? No. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it out with your friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.